Hello, I'm Rebecca Barnard and I am a musician. I come from a long line of jazz musicians. My father was Len Barnard, who was a drummer, and I'm here to talk about some influential women in jazz.
I know where you're going. I know where
I suppose I'm not known so much as a jazz singer because I had a pop band, Rebecca's Empire, that did quite well. You know, Triple J loved us, and those were the days. That was the 90s. But I've always sung jazz. That's sort of like my first love, you know. It's like breathing. It's sort of effortless. There are several women that come to mind when I think about Victorian jazz, or women in Victorian jazz. The first one being Margret RoadKnight, who is best known for the hit she had in 1977, which was more a folk song, The Girls in Our Town. Girls in our town leave school at 16. They work at the counter or behind the machine. It's just, it sucks you in immediately. It's real life. Margaret is not your stereotypical type of female singer-songwriter. She's very tall, and she started off like I did, really, just harmonising with her sister while they were doing the dishes and, you know, jotting down lyrics here and there. And then she started performing at Trainers, which was a jazz club in Melbourne, and really started to expand into jazz and blues by becoming Frank Trainor's Jazz Preacher's vocalist. And then she began her recording career, and the first single, Girls in Our Town, reached the top 20, and she toured internationally. But, you know, I think the reason her career didn't go further than it did was because she didn't want to play the game. She didn't want to be told what to do. She had her own unique style, and she stuck to it and managed to have a career that is still going to this day. Another very unique female artist is Judy Jacques.
Judy Jacques!
I'm so glad.
She started very young. She joined the Yarra Yarra New Orleans Jazz Band in 1963, and that opened a lot of doors for her. She did a lot of television work. She wasn't singing jazz as such. It was sort of bluesy, jazzy, and she eventually moved into experimental voice. She started to collaborate with visual artists and poets. She was very ahead of her time. Yes, she won a Bell Award for her album in 2003, which it's been called experimental folk jazz fusion. You know, she's not afraid to delve into herself. Which can be confronting, I think, for a lot of singers, and I see that as being very brave. Yeah, she's been a wonderful role model for a lot of women, including me. Someone that I could not leave out is Maggie Lou Dyer, who's had a big influence on me, and we go back a long way. Our connection really goes back to our fathers. Walker Dyer, her father, who was a brilliant trombone player and who very sadly died when Margie was, I think, 18 months old. And my father, Len Barnard, the drummer, they played together. So we've always had this connection. Margie really learnt to play jazz piano by listening to her dad's records. I think that's, you know, that's where she got her jazz sensibility from, like I did listening to my dad's records. They just sort of saturate you whether you like it or not because they're so good. She's been in about 8 or 9 bands. And she, whenever you talk about it, she still says it's a man's world. But no musician, male or female, that I know can play the sort of piano she plays, and then her voice on top of that is just beautiful. She's a totally natural musician. It's just an honour to know her, really. And that's what I love about jazz, and particularly women in jazz. It's not a phony thing, it's the real deal.